How you doing? So in my first Iron Man Infamous video, I talked about him being beyond OP with synergies. So this video is just a continuation of that. I'm going to break it down when it comes to synergies, as well as I'm going to do some gameplay. First of all, he is a tech and he is a hero. So just that alone, he can get great synergies, which I will showcase later on. So let's take a look at his own synergy. I want to do a quick rant when it comes to could have been the most important synergy he has is I know how they think. Infamous Iron Man while fighting hashtag villains gain plus 460 critical damage rating for each knockout team member. So his only works, he'll gain critical damage rating against villains, which makes up only about 30% of the champions in the game. So they really tried hard not to make him better than Doom. That was the thing that I was a bit disappointed on. Why is it only hashtag villains? Okay, which makes up 30% of the champions in the game, and Doom has something similar to that, which affects all the champions in the game, not just villains. So this is kind of big rant. I guess they realized how OP he would be with synergies, and they didn't want to make the same mistakes they did with Scorpion, because they didn't realize Scorpion was gonna be beyond OP with synergy, and they didn't want to nerf Scorpion because if they did, it would take a lot of backlash from the community. So they decided, you know what? Instead of every champion in the game, because he's gonna be beyond OP, let's just cut it to like villains, which makes up only 30% of the champions in the game. So that was the I would say a rant when it comes to the synergy with Iron Man Infamous. So let's look at his other synergies. Yes, he gets 8% attack rating if you have Doctor Doom in the team, which is a decent synergy. This is probably the worst synergy he has. He can increase the potency of each team armor up effects for 10% for each member of the present. That's pretty terrible synergy. I mean, if it was like 50% for each synergy member, that would have been better. But 10%, that's really nothing. He does have, he is a tech, so he can get that pre-fight ability with War Machine. So I guess you can just say it's a plus when you have War Machine in your team. So this one is probably going to be the most important synergy he has when it comes to having a Fantastic Four in the team. Infamous Iron Man gains plus 4,900 critical rating while the opponent has 2 or more bars of power. So that's a really good synergy with Mr. Fantastic or Human Torch or Thing. And if you do have Mr. Fantastic, you have access to his free fight ability as well. So that's great. Now let's talk about Dr. Despot. This one is reasonable. Effects on the opponent are 50% more potent when it comes to cowardice. So you can, and when it comes to his awakened ability, he can block special attacks, which is nice. So this is gonna make him like really tanky and be able to block specials. When it comes to Synergy Champion, this one is a pretty good synergy as well. Not just for Penny Parker, it's also great against champions that are shock immune. Instead of placing a shock on them, you can incinerate them, and that's gonna counter a lot of champions in the game that are not incinerate and shock immune. This will be a great counter against Storm. This will do so much damage when it comes to fighting against Storm. Infamous Iron Man, whenever Infamous Iron Man is immune to an effect, he deals the opponent a burst of energy damage equal to 200% of his attack rating. Each subsequent time if this ability triggers, its potency is reduced by 20%. So this is actually decent in short fight, but when it comes to long fights, this is pretty much useless. When you're immune to something, you inflict energy damage, which is nice, but like I mentioned, long fights, that's pretty much going to be useless. So here's 2 synergies with Penny Parker, which is going to be pretty good, and with Mr. The Fantastic Four. Those are pretty much 2 of his good synergies. I would say best synergies, but he is a hero and he's a tech, so we'll make a team being because of that. So let's do that. Okay, we're here already. So this right here, this team is going to be giving the most attack. But the only problem with this team is the least realistic team you can have. Okay? When it comes to Nick Fury, you gain plus 20% when he's knocked out, plus 20% attack. And when it comes to White Magneto, being a hero, you gain 8% attack, plus you have access to this free fire ability, which will give you another 15% attack. And if you have a 5 or a 6-star Hercules, so 5-star will give you 10%, and your 6-star will give you a 15%. So let's just pretend we have a 6-star, and we'll get a 15% attack bonus. And when it comes to War Machine Free Fight, you gain about another 25%, I believe, when it comes to attack, if you activate his armory boost as well. So the reason why this is the least realistic team is when it comes to Hercules, he has to be alive, and to get the maximum attack rating bonus, you have to have a 6-star. So he has to be alive, you gotta have the 6-star to get that 15% attack, and you gotta be running Liquid Courage. That's why, even though this team is really good for Iron Man Infamous, and in general a really good team, it's the most realistic team you could have. But if you could have this team, wow, this damage is going to be pretty crazy, because when you think about how much total attack would give him, it will give him a total of 83% attack bonus. Okay? And then since you have to be running Liquid Courage, that's 6, and I'm assuming you're going to be running Double H as well, that's another 60% attack. And then if you have Max Glass Cannon, that's another 7.5% attack. So you're looking at, with this synergy, plus running Damage Mastery and Glass Cannon, maxed out, you're going to be getting an extra 150% attack. And then if you have like max boost attack, you're going to get another 50% attack. So you can be looking at 200% attack. So whatever you saw in Deep Dive, you can be looking at 3 times the damage if you're running this team, as well as damage mastery, as well as boost. So this team is pretty powerful. It's going to be beyond OP with synergy with this team, as well as running damage mastery. But the only problem is it's very unrealistic team. So let's make a team that's more realistic for Infamous Iron Man. So let's do that. So personally, I think Mr. Fantastic is the better synergy for him, because he has access to that free fight ability when it comes to Mr. Reed. That he gains that extra critical rating if the opponent has 2 or more bars of power. You also have access to his free fight when it comes to Mr. Fantastic, as well as he doesn't have to be alive, so you can gain that critical damage against villain. So this is the team I'm going to be using when it comes to the gameplay. So as far as the gameplay goes, I hope it's not one of those do as I say, not as I do video. But let's just say you want to be more realistic, we can make this team more realistic. We can take out White Magneto, put Dr. Doom in a team. As you can see, you'll gain that 6% attack bonus, as well as being a hero, you gain that 8% attack rating. So that's another 14% attack, but you do lose that attack, which is total of 23% attack with White Magneto. So you do lose about 9% attack rating, but you don't have to worry about activating any free fight ability. So you don't have to worry about running out of that. So this is an even more realistic team. And this is probably the most realistic team you can have with him. Let's see, where is he at? Where you at? Where you at? There he is. The man, the myth, legend, Diablo. See here, you don't have to worry about any free fight. You do lose a lot of attack with this team, but the good thing about with Diablo, you gain that 6% attack, as well as a little bit of critical damage rating boost. So with this team, you're going to get about 40% attack rating, and plus you gain nearly 2,000 critical damage if all your teammates is knocked out against villain. So this is a pretty realistic team. I want to probably try this against villains. With this against villains, with this team, I'm really thinking that he could pretty much triple his damage compared to his base attack if you're running damage mastery, and with this team, assuming that all your teammates is knocked out against villains. So we'll test that in a different gameplay, but for today, we're gonna check out this gameplay. So let's take out Doom, let's take out White Magneto, let's put in, did I say White Magneto? I didn't even have him in the team. Let's put White Magneto, and let's put War Machine. So this is the team I'm going to be using. This is a pretty good team, but it's a bit unrealistic. Let's just be forward with it. So when it comes to his gameplay, what is this? If you look at deep dive, it just shows you short fights, long fights. You know, it's really not just that simple. It really depends on the champion you're using. You know, there's really 6 different things you can be talking about when it comes to the champion. First of all, probably the most important thing is what rank is your champion. In this case, are you using a 4-star, a 5-star, a 6-star, or 6? You know, what rank is the 6-star you're using, kind of thing. You know, what else? Are you using damage mastery? That's number 2. Are you using what do you call that? A synergy team? Are you using boost? Are you optimizing his gameplay? As you can see, the way, if you optimize his gameplay, you could be like, let's just talk about the least optimized gameplay you can give him versus the most optimized gameplay. Let's say least amount of gameplay, if you have the opponent always with 0 bar of power versus 3 bars of power. Okay, with 0 bars of power compared to 3 bars of power, you're pretty much getting at least double the attack damage, because he does gain critical rating for every bar of power he has when you throw the SP3, and then he gains plus 25% attack rating on his SP2 for each bar of power the opponent has as well. And if you use Mr. Fantastic Synergy, you gain that extra critical rating if the opponent has 2 or more bars of power. So that's really like almost, if not triple, the damage you could be doing if you're optimizing his gameplay with 0 bar of power the opponent versus 3 bars of power of all the time. I know that's a bit unrealistic, hyperbole kind of saying, but you know, just thinking, are you optimizing his gameplay? And it also depends the champion you're using, because I have used my 4-star Nebula here with damage mastery as well as full synergy max boost. I was able to beat Winter Soldier in 57 seconds. So if you think about 57 seconds, you can say that's anything under a minute fight. You can argue that's a short fight. So it really depends the champion you use as well. So 6 different things. What rank is your infamous Iron Man? Okay. Or you can say 5 different things. What rank is your Iron Man infamous? Are you using damage mastery? What is that noise? Are you using full synergy? Are you using boost? Are you maximizing his what do you call this? Damage. So those are things what you could say what makes him what could be making a short fight or long fight. You know, it really varies. See, in here I'm using a 4-star, so this is going to be a long fight when it comes to Realm of Legends Winter Soldier, anything over 500,000 health. If I was using a 6-star rank 4 here, this would be a medium fight, you know. So when it comes to short fight, it's pretty obvious. You know, you just, you know, if you can knock out the opponent with 1 SP2, then that's going to be a short fight. But if you need to be able to throw SP3, you know, you could do SP3, 1 SP1, and 2 SP2s, maybe 3 SP2s, depending on what rank your champion is. If you're using a rank 5, or you're using a synergy power gain synergy team as well. So when it comes to with long fights, which this is going to be a long fight for Iron Man Infamous, I'm going to be doing a rotation of SP3, SP1, SP2, then back to SP3. I could do play it even safer than that, going to SP3 and SP1, but that's not gonna optimize my damage. So I'm just gonna go with SP3, SP1, and SP2 when it comes to this fight, because it's going to be a long fight. Like, let me repeat it again. When it comes to short fight, obviously you're just gonna have to use one SP2, and hopefully the opponent will be knocked out. When it comes to medium fights, you're gonna be using SP3, SP1, SP2, and SP2. So this is a long fight. I'm going to be using SP3, SP1, and SP2 when it comes to Iron Man Infamous. So it is far more complicated. What I should have said in the beginning is, you know, whether it's a short fight, long fight, medium fight, it's up to you to figure out. And I could have just stopped the video from there, you know, and that could have been the best advice I give you, which I should have said earlier. You really have to play the game, you know, to figure it out, because this is far complicated to know if it's going to be a short fight, medium fight, a long fight. As I said earlier, there should be like 5 or 6 different components that determine what the fight is. As I mentioned, what rank is your Infamous Iron Man? Are you using damage mastery? Are you using full synergy? Are you using boost? Are you optimizing the damage as well? So let's go. So let's do some gameplay. Hopefully it's not one of those do as I say, not as I do videos. So let's activate the free fights when it comes to Iron Man Infamous. So which one should I get? I need this one for sure, as well as this one. So let's do it. Let's do some gameplay. So this is my first time ever playing with Iron Man Infamous, and I think it's really good because it gives you a realistic gameplay. I might do some different gameplay in the later on. You know, I'll tell you how many attempts I took it, how many times I did it, just to give you an idea how realistic it is to play with him. It is a little bit harder talking at the same time doing the gameplay, that's for sure. So you want to be able to have your Iron Man, they call that, Aura of Iron. So you do that by throwing a heavy attack. This will give you an energized buff, and I didn't even mention the energized buff. You want to have the energized buff to be able to throw the rotation. Without it, it's going to be really hard to be able to do the rotation without the energized buff. So SP3, SP1, SP2. As I mentioned, this is my first time playing this, so I'm surprised how well I'm doing. And as usual, the input is messing up, so I'm not able to parry sometimes. So that's not my first time playing. I'm not going to skip the button. Just see the SP3, which is pretty cool. Oh man, I hate this thing. The input is just really terrible. I forgot to do my rotation too. So let's go just with the SP2 first. I'm lucky there. The input bug is just terrible. I can't parry. Save my life. So you could also do SP3, SP2, SP2. You don't have to do the SP1. And I just got lucky there. But really you want to do SP1 first, because the reason why, it just makes the fight much easier. Not only that, the more it gives, what is this? Because the reason why it makes it easier, because your opponent cannot throw a special attack. And not only that, that will keep him at 3 bars of power, which you want to get the maximum damage. And this parry thing is just annoying because I cannot somehow parry. And I'm still gonna be able to solo it with first time playing it, still be able to solo it, which is pretty crazy. There you go. That was in bad considering I was talking and it's the first time I ever tried Iron Man Infamous. As you can see here, he's beyond OP with synergy as I predicted. What is this? So is it gonna be game breaking when it comes to beyond OP with synergies? For the most part, no. I mean, he is going to be beyond OP with synergies against villains. Not all villains, but most villains, anyways. Which is unfortunate. It's not every champion in the game when it comes to increasing his critical damage. Even without synergy, he's going to be OP against Bishop. Probably one of the best counters to Bishops for sure. And he's going to be a pretty good counter to, what do you call that? What's his name? Mr. Sinister, since he doesn't crit. He's, I think, probably without a doubt the best counter to Mr. Sinister. If you know any better counter than Mr. Sinister, let me know. But I think he's going to be the best counter when it comes to against Mr. Sinister. There you go. There'll be some more gameplay. This was actually not bad. I was thinking I might have to do this gameplay again because how terrible I would play, but that wasn't bad at all. So what do you guys think about Iron Man Infamous? I will be testing him against villain in a different um, gameplay, and I'll tell you how many time I took to get that optimized damage. I might have to redo this gameplay just to show you the comparison with a 4-star versus a 6-star rank 4 without synergy, without damage mastery. As you can see here, this damage is almost comparable to a 6-star rank 4 without damage mastery. I mean, it's probably comparable to a 6-star rank 3 without damage mastery. Think about it. I'm not using any boost either, and this is only a 4-star. As you can see, how his damage is almost triple what it is with damage mastery as well as full synergy. Thank you.